I want to talk about why so many black businesses don't succeed. A lot of it is due to poor economic soil. It's due to the fact that we tend to hate ourselves more than we could ever dislike a white person. I think that it's really important that we have this conversation. I think that we treat our businesses the same way we treat black people in the criminal justice system. And I'm going to break that down for you and explain that to you. So get comfortable, buckle up your seatbelt. We're going to get started on the Black Financial Channel. And this is for kind of an educational process. Some of you may have seen me talking extensively about black owned businesses. And there have been some interesting conversations about things like the black businesses struggle. Now, here's the thing. One thing that's interesting about black owned business, and tell me if you've ever noticed this. I've noticed that black people, we tend to be harder on our own businesses than we are with anybody else. Has anybody ever noticed that there are people that will just have a type of vitriol toward other black people that they would never dare express to a white man, that they've never expressed to a white man? That literally there's something, maybe it's familiarity breeds contempt. Maybe it's, I see you as my peer and I'm broke, so you supposed to be broke just like me. It's almost like, how dare you? It's almost like they think that making money with a business or charging money for a product is something that white people should be allowed to do, but black people should not do it. Seriously, think about it. There's so many people who went to college and gave $120,000 to some mediocre white university with a bunch of white professors, and they might complain about the student loans or whatever, but they never really actually rebelled and spent their whole life trying to destroy that institution that took $120,000 of their family wealth. Think about this. Think about how many black people go to college at big institutions that are racist, don't hire black people, don't have any black professors, don't even let in black students, only black students on the campus or on the basketball team. And they don't go nearly as hard at those institutions that literally took over $100,000 from them as they'll go after a black business that they think took $50 of their money or took $200. And I want you to really notice this, because this is part of your mental illness. This is part of I talked about this extensively in my new book. It's called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power, and it's an Amazon bestseller. And I spoke about it in the book because this is what you call fertile economic soil. A lot of the reason that your black businesses don't grow is because you don't have the soil that allows them to grow. The thing, here's what I mean by that. And again, I want to move the conversation past the discussions of the Tulsa Fund and things like that, because I don't care what people think about it. I mean, it's up to people to have whatever opinion they want. That's not it. It's almost like when I talk about the Democrat Republican thing, and people think that because I'm not a Democrat that I must be a Republican. And I'm like, I'm trying to elevate your mind. I don't give. It's about the process. It's about the bigger picture. And so anyway, with this, it's about the bigger picture, right? This conversation have been convinced that they're legitimately protecting black dollars by quote unquote exposing the so-called the scammers in the black community. Now, I'm not saying that there's not a place for that, and I'm not saying that if someone is caught doing something illegal, they shouldn't be penalized or prosecuted. But I'm just trying to understand, how come all your so-called scammers are just other black people? How come you will get really upset over a black man that you think took an extra $1,000, $10,000, $100,000, $1 million even, but you literally walk right past all the white people that have taken billions out of the black community, that are taking billions every year. I've never really seen any black outrage toward Mark Zuckerberg, who has taken $3 billion out of the black community this year alone. I just haven't seen that. And again, I'm not saying that you don't have a right to go after the black businesses. I'm sitting there just trying to ask, are black businesses the only places that make mistakes? And the reason you don't have good fertile economic soil, and this is the reason why 86% of all black businesses fail, it's because y'all really hate each other. You hate each other more than white people hate you. So when you're a black business owner, it's hard because you're getting discriminated against by white people, and you're being discriminated against by black people. White people are allowed to make mistakes. They're allowed to start businesses and hit the reset button. Think about this. I want y'all to give me a yes or no if you understand where I'm coming from. Look at what Wells Fargo has done to the black community. Look how many billions of dollars Wells Fargo took out of the black community. And look how much money they're still making right now. They're still in business. You don't see all tons of outrage online. You don't see black YouTube channels making, 5 videos a week, funding their whole YouTube channel off of talking about Wells Fargo. You don't see that. And I just find that really utterly fascinating, because I guarantee you that if Wells Fargo is run by a black man, that black man and that black man's face would be public enemy number one. They'd be talking about him all day. That bank would not exist. It would be dead. And so that's one thing I want to bring to your attention. The other thing I want to bring to your attention is that, when you're talking about the existence of and I call these people the Negro naysayers. The Negro naysayers, they're kind of like economic clowns, angry clowns. They sort of show up in whenever you find a solution to a problem, they find a bigger problem, or they find a problem with your solution, but they ain't got no solution. They'll find a problem with your business, but they ain't got no business. They'll get mad because you're succeeding, and they ain't got no track record of success, right? So the Negro naysayer shows up, and whenever a black business comes into existence and that business is struggling and the owners are doing the best they can, undercapitalized, don't have the right enough of a customer base, trying to get something off the ground, trying to make things work, they get eaten up by the Negro naysayers. The Negro naysayers exist in a lot of our lives. Sometimes it's people in our own family, and really what they're saying to you when they give you a hard time. Think about this. These are the people that will pay money to a white business, but will expect the black business owner to give them stuff for free. Anybody know people like that? Nigga, your prices are too high. Who the hell you think you are? How you gonna charge me $3 for a hot dog? He charged $3 for a hot dog. He a scammer. That nigga a scammer, right? But will quietly pay the white man whatever price he asked for. Either they'll pay him or they won't, or they'll just walk away from the business. They won't spend their life trying to destroy a white owned business the way they might spend their life trying to destroy a black owned business. This is why 86% of black businesses fail, because you don't give them room to grow. You don't give them room to make mistakes. You immediately go from 0 to 60, and I personally encourage you to reconsider that. And maybe it's jealousy, maybe it's unhappiness, insecurity, or whatever, or like misery loves company. But I wrote a book years ago called "What If George Bush Were a Black Man," and in this book, in 2004 was when I wrote it, when I was on the faculty of Syracuse University. In this book, I talked about how one of the reasons so many black men end up in prison is because black men don't have the same margin of error as white men. Now, if you simply say, black men wouldn't go to prison if they were perfect, you can say that. You can say if you never make a mistake, you probably won't go to jail. If you never break the law, then you'll probably not get in trouble. That's fine. But what happens if you slip up? What happens if you do make a mistake? And the thing about our country is that the black man is not given the same room to make mistakes as a white man, given that room to fail. The black man and the black woman are not given that space to learn from their mistakes. And so effectively, a lot of black men end up getting life in prison.
Would you like to see how we started a lifestyle business by uploading short PDFs to Amazon? Well, I'm going to share
things that white kids might do and get a slap on the wrist. They might get, they'll get another chance. The judge will say, oh, he was only 18. He made a mistake. They'll contextualize it and they'll understand. They give them grace. And so a lot of your black businesses die because I don't think we give them enough grace. I think that it would be appropriate. I've done this a lot of times. I've invested in tons of black businesses. I have walked away from tons of black businesses, and I support tons of black businesses. And when I don't like the way a black man does business or a black woman is doing business, I might be so pissed off. I mean, believe me, I have loaned money, a mortal enemy. That's a mental illness. That's a real mental illness. And so I just wanted to make this point to you guys. I get it. I know that this business thing is new for our community, but I want you to kind of point out that when you see these Negro naysayers, when you see these clowns, when you see these angry clowns showing up and basically saying, who that Negro think he is, and look at how much money he charges, and his business ain't make no money, and he's a scammer or whatever. I want you to challenge them. I want you to say, okay, well, what have you built that's actually creating jobs for anybody other than yourself? What is it that is leading you to be afraid of dealing with white people as harshly as you deal with other black people? What is it that